Hi guys, Marilyn Wish here. Today I want to be talking about how to be productive with a mobile baby. So walking or crawling, but still young. They're not toddler yet, but they're getting there. My son is just under 12 months and I wanted to share some tips and tricks with you on what I have learned with staying productive with having a baby that's constantly growing and changing and is definitely mobile now. If you didn't see my first video on how to stay productive with a baby, you can go check out those tips and tricks for younger ages, newborn to 6 months or so that you get an idea of kind of how you can be productive and be working on your art and getting things done, even if you have to also be doing your job as a mom and doing it well. So here are my 3 tips and tricks for how to stay productive with a mobile baby, a baby on the move. Some of these are going to be basic, just like advice that I have for staying productive with young kids, because I know for myself, I like to try to get things done and do as much as possible, but I know that being a mom and taking care of a child is a full-time job, and so how do you balance those two things? So I want to talk about that with you today. So the first one is quick wins. Giving yourself some quick wins is super motivating. So if you're a list maker like I am and you write a list every week about what things you want to get done, or maybe you have goals for the month or for the year, those things you want to work towards, right? And there's going to be like hierarchy of which ones are more pressing things to do, which ones are like have to do's like laundry, you know, all these different things on your list. This comes down to keeping your expectations on the low end. I've found that if I have too high of expectations for things I can get done during a nap time or when baby's being watched by someone else or at night, I can get really depressed or regretting what I did with my time because I didn't take advantage as much, and therefore then I'm angry at the baby if the baby woke up too early and all these different things that I base my expectations around. And so it's really important, it's really healthy if you can just keep your expectations lower. And yes, you want to put your baby first, you want to put your family first, you want to put yourself first and your self-care first. And so all of these things you have to kind of keep in mind so your expectations don't get too high. Like you don't want to get all these 10 things done when your kid is napping, because most likely that's not going to happen. I want you to surprise yourself with how much you can get done during a nap time or when your child's being babysat by someone else or in an evening, that you look back and you say, wow, I got a lot done today, instead of the opposite of being, man, what did I do with my time? I regret not doing this, not trying to do that, not doing, all these different things. So really making sure that you have your expectations in the right place so that you can actually surprise yourself with how much you get done. So an example of how to give yourself a quick win. Babies are unpredictable, right? They're constantly going through different sleep regressions and eating regressions and different things. They're constantly developing and learning. I mean, you can't blame them, right? There's a lot happening in that little body, and sometimes their naps are really long, sometimes their naps are really short. Sometimes they wake you up at night, sometimes they sleep through the night. Sometimes they love their food and they're eating all the time, sometimes they don't. So there's constantly this shifting and moving, and it's all completely normal, just so you know. There's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with your baby, it's completely normal. But how do you work with that as a mom who wants to get other stuff done as well? Quick wins. Saying to yourself before you put the baby down for a nap, what is something I can do really quick in like 20 to 30 minutes? Because if my baby only sleeps 20 to 30 minutes for this nap, what is the highest thing on my list that I would rather get done in that amount of time, and say that it's done before anything else? So this could be something like, for me, making a thumbnail for a video. I could do that in 20 to 30 minutes. Editing the beginning portion of a video, or varnishing a painting, or cleaning up my workspace so that when the next nap happens, if this one's not long enough, I can actually use my clean space. Things like that that are gonna set you up for success. Now, if your baby ends up sleeping longer, then you have more time to do more things, right? And so that quick win that you've given yourself to accomplish now has become the instigator, the motivator for you to get more done, especially if that quick win was quick. It took only like 20 to 30 minutes and your baby's still sleeping. You have so much more time. You can keep going until your baby wakes up. So I almost, in a way, on my list, just mentally, I say, okay, these are some of the things that I can do really quickly. And then these are things that are a little bit longer commitment, longer time commitment, and then so on and so on. And so kind of in your head thinking, I'm starting with the quick wins, and then if I have time, I can continue down the list and keep accomplishing those other things that maybe take a little bit more time if the baby blesses me with more time. The second advice I have for you is, especially with a baby that's mobile, when they're out and about and they're awake and they're with you around the house or the studio or whatever, the yard, I personally have found that it's best for my morale, for the morale of my household, for my baby, and that would be avoiding doing housework when baby is napping. Instead, doing housework when your baby is awake. Now, one thing I have learned from taking care of babies, just from their Instagram free content that they do, they also have courses on how the development of babies work and how sleep affects babies and everything they do, and how to train your baby to sleep well, and so on and so forth. I would go check them out. Link is in the description below. But the biggest thing I've learned from them is that you want to be filling your baby's tired tank. So your baby wakes up from the nap, they're gonna be energetic, they're gonna be ready to do stuff, they're more verbal, all these different things. They're walking around like crazy. But then as the day or their wake window, the time that they're awake between naps, gets shorter and shorter, they're gonna get more and more tired, right? Because you're doing more things with them, right? They're exposing themselves to more things, they're learning more things, they're gonna get tired. That's what happens. So their cycles, their nap cycles, they're awake and sleep, awake and sleep. So you wanna figure out how to fill those wake windows, those times that they're awake, with things that are gonna make them tired. If you don't interact with your baby as much, they're not getting as much stimulation, right? And so therefore they're not gonna probably nap as well because they're not as tired, or nap when you want them to because they're not as tired. So when you have housework to do, try to incorporate your little one who's maybe fresh to walking or crawling to participate. So actually my son because now he's walking on his own, he loves when I open the dishwasher, because he, especially if it's clean, will take out a silverware and like hand it to me. So he's like learning how to unload the dishwasher at like just under 12 months. I don't know if that'll stick around, but we'll hope. But he is learning that. He's doing that with me. It's an activity for him, and we're getting something done house related while he's awake. Same with laundry. I constantly am moving laundry from the washer to the dryer and out into the bed and doing some folding, and he's right there with me, walking with me, grabbing things with me. I've had him handing me folded clothes before. There's so many ways that you can incorporate your children into your everyday chores and activities, daily household things that are going to kind of be killing two birds with one stone. You're getting stuff done, you're being productive with the time that you have with your baby. Your baby is getting some great interaction and great ways to fill his or her tired tank. It's a great time together. So I recommend not saving things like laundry, dishes, and so on for when they're sleeping, but rather when they're awake, so that you can get them involved in that process. And honestly, it makes wake windows go quicker. So if you're like really anxious to get onto your productive thing, your art, your project, it makes it go faster, and it's almost another quick win because you've already done the laundry. So there you go. Ultimately, you're reserving nap times for self-care, for being productive, for painting, for sculpting, whatever art you do. You're saving those moments for that, because that's the uninterrupted or less interrupted time, maybe a little bit more structured depending on how old your child is. And so that's when you want to focus on stuff for you. And then when they're awake, doing things with them. And it's totally okay if it's house stuff. You don't have to sit and play with the baby the whole time. You can be involving them in the process of living as a member of the family in your house. And then the third thing is if your baby is a good sleeper, which again, I will link and talk about taking care of babies. If you're having trouble with whatever age kid you have, just feeling discouraged by sleep regressions and unsure why your older child's not sleeping through the night anymore, all these different things. She addresses all of these issues. She sells courses on this, but I just follow her on Instagram and I get so much awesome content that has helped me and my son and my family to figure out how the sleep cycles, how that all works, and to just have my expectations in the right place so that when my son is regressing in his sleep, I have known it was coming, know what to do to help it along quicker and not feel so discouraged by it, and to feel like I'm doing the right things. So check out Taking Care of Babies, again, link down in the description below. If your baby's a good sleeper, and again, I highly encourage you to invest in that, because then your evenings are like for sure. And again, I'm talking about older ages, 8 to 12 months and beyond, when your baby is sleeping more in general. But right now my son, so far for the last month and a half, has slept through the night, which has been helpful, because I know that when I put him down between 7 and 8 at night, keeping that consistent, I know I have that whole evening, including sleep, to myself and to my husband and the two of us. Just knowing that your baby can sleep and will sleep is a comfort, and then you have lots of that time in the evening then to work on stuff. So I use things like prepping dinner, waiting for maybe my husband to be ready, done with work, to assist me with the baby so I can be making dinner during that time. We then kind of tag team the baby after dinner when we clean up and stuff like that. And then maybe we'll go down for the night, and I get 2 or 3 hours before my husband and I decide we want to relax and watch TV or watch our show, to work on things. So if I had things during the day that I didn't get to, I did my quick wins, but I didn't get some of these longer projects worked on, that is my time to do that. So all in all, with these 3 tips, finding quick wins and working on those first, avoiding doing housework while your baby is sleeping, but rather when they're awake and involving them, and then using your evenings before your child goes to bed as productive time or self-care, are the 3 most helpful advice I can give you for how to stay productive and be productive and get your work done, get your projects done with a baby that's like 8 to 12 months old who is walking and mobile. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.